Hi everybody, so get this, I was on my way to the repair shop the other day and I was actually taking Phoenix in for some other repairs when I started smelling gas. I honestly thought, oh well, it's okay, it's probably just the carburetor acting up again and it's a good thing that I'm taking her in. But when I got there, I realized that that wasn't right. This was a serious gas leak, the kind that can be very, very dangerous.
It's a good day today. It's a good day today.
So thank you for being on my channel today, and thank you for all of your support. I have the most wonderful viewers and readers in the world, and I'm grateful for each of you. If you've been following along, or if you've joined me on recent F&Ls, you know this whole situation with Phoenix has been a lot. And I debated how much of this to share, but at the end of the day, this is real life on the road. Now, granted, I'm at my docking station, but and I'm really grateful because this could have happened anywhere, coast to coast, border to border, and I would have been really up a creek. So today I'm going to share with you the good, the hard, and yeah, what in the world just happened moments that I've been going through recently with Phoenix. This one still has me shaking my head, honestly. It wasn't just frustrating, you guys. It was a very demeaning situation, and it's so unfair to Phoenix. She's only got 84,000 miles on her, and since I bought her in 2020, I have had a lot of work done on her, and I'm not talking about the RV house part, which I've done a lot of work there too. Today I'm talking about the engine and chassis work. I mean, a lot of work. I could go, the list could go on and on. She's got new tires, and thank you, Richard, for that. The rest I've had done she's got a new drive shaft. She's got a new axle. She's the U-joints have been replaced. Under the hood, she's just about got everything replaced under there, in addition to the regular maintenance like tune-ups and oil and filter changes and batteries and belts and all of that. I am meticulous about keeping her in shape. So much of her problems has to do with repeat work from bad mechanics or unscrupulous mechanics, maybe even incompetent. I don't know anymore, you guys, but I was very helpful on this last visit. I took her back to the same mechanic from last year, and it felt so good to be able to have somebody that is local, that she wasn't going to have to go to all these different mechanics anymore. I was going to have a local certified shop recommended by the chamber, and I could get things done on her routinely. And like I said, just very, very hopeful. But within miles of leaving my home base and taking her into the shop for, like I said, other stuff, there was a very, very strong gas smell. Now, 2 years ago, I had an AUDIBLE carburetor put on her, brand new, but she's never run right since then. And this guy last year, he was able to tweak her and at least get her to where she wasn't backfiring on me and wasn't stalling, and which was wonderful. She still had a lot of black smoke coming out, I mean, really bad on startup, and an occasional gas smell. He felt like that would burn off over time, and it has gotten much better. But I just thought, when I started smelling the gas, I thought, something's wrong, going wrong with the carburetor. God, that I'm headed in, he's going to be able to fix her. But by the time I arrived, my eyes were watering. I was getting sick. The smell was so bad. I had the windows down. I had the fans on in the RV roof. It was just really, really bad. And of course, it turned out to be a fuel leak, and a really bad one. The passenger floor even got wet, and the reality is it could have caught fire while I was driving. It was so bad. And I'll tell you about the other things that I was taking her in for in a moment. But I dropped her off on a Monday earlier in the month, and I had no updates from them all week, and which wasn't the norm that I experienced last year, and it wasn't a turnover of people. Now they do have trouble keeping mechanics. It's, you know, a lot of places are having trouble keeping a staff, and so I get that, but they had that same trouble last year, so I was surprised to not get any updates from them. And also, when we would drive by, my RV wasn't ever got moved into a bay, and so I wasn't quite sure what was going on. But Thursday my phone rang and I thought, oh, here's an update, and they were asking what size the gas tank was, because I guess the plan was to drop the fuel tank to look at the fuel leak. And so I told them, and then I didn't get anything from them again all weekend, not you know, Thursday into Friday, and just nothing. And so on Monday we were in town, and so I dropped by there, and right then he was working on the AC, and he held up a metal line, and he said, this broke off, and he said, see how jagged it is? It was very old. It was probably the original pipe or line that came with the RV. And I said, no, actually I had that completely fabricated by a specialty shop in Las Vegas, Nevada in 2020. And he didn't say anything, and I said, well, what do we do now? And he said, well, I can't find anybody to fabricate it. I'll keep trying. And so he also said that he did an oil and filter change, and he said that the filter was really bad, that somebody had put in a bad filter. And I said, well, you did the last oil and filter change in November, and I've only driven like 1,600 miles since then. And again, he didn't say anything. So he had told me that he thought maybe the fuel filter was the reason for the leak, and it turns out, I guess, that's not the case, or wasn't the case at the time. But he hadn't fixed that. He hadn't dropped the tank, and in his words, he said, I need time to think about how to do that. Well, I don't know how you professionally siphon gasoline out of a tank, and it was like almost full. I get that, and I don't know how you professionally do it, but I grew up on a farm, so I know how to siphon gas. And so I said, well, I don't mind doing it, and I suppose that offended him. I didn't mean to be offensive. I just meant generally, I'll help with my rig. If you need the gas tank siphoned, I'll do it. And he goes, I don't want you messing up my shop either. And he was just really irritated, and now it had been 1 full week she'd been sitting there, and all that had been done was 2 filters had been changed, the oil filter and the fuel filter, and now my AC was broken, and the fuel leak plus the original problems I'd taken her in for hadn't been done. And so I went out to the van, and I was just really disheartened and confused, honestly. And Janice said, well, why is he dropping the gas tank anyway? And I'm like, I don't know. And she goes, well, you need to go find out. And I was like, oh, because I did not want to go back in there. I it's my rig, and I guess I have a right to know, but it's like, I felt so intimidated. But I went back up to him, and I'm like, excuse me, but I was telling my friend the updates and everything, and she asked why you're dropping the gas tank, and I didn't know what to tell her. His response was, why does she need to know? Oh, that just went right through me. When he was talking about Jana, she's not a she needs to know. So it just went right through me. And I said, okay, let me rephrase it. I'm asking why you need to drop the gas tank. And he just stared at me. So we had this like staring contest for a minute. And then he said, because I need to fix the fuel leak? Oh, you guys. I just let it go. But I left there. It was late Thursday, and he was working on another vehicle, and I left there just really disheartened. Last year it was so different, and I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but I had made the appointment while we were in Quartzsite, and then I called a couple of weeks before the appointment to make sure that we were set, and brought her in. So I had an appointment, and I was thinking, what good does an appointment do then? And then I was also thinking, isn't my money as good as theirs? the appointment that I had made was for the original work that I thought I was taking her in for before the fuel leak, and I still don't know what happened on that, was the carburetor issues. He wanted to recheck that, and then the brakes, when I would do go up grade and be coming back down, she would like, I mean, like really shudder, and he thought that that might be the rotors. He decided while she was at the shop that he didn't want to get into the rotors, and so he wasn't willing to fix that. Plus, they said they couldn't find the heavy-duty enough rotors that I need for the RV. And I also asked for him to look at my tail light. It has an electrical issue, I think. It's only one tail light, and it's only when my lights are on and I hit the brakes it goes off. If my lights aren't on, it's fine. It's not the bulb. We've replaced that and done the things that we can do. So I wanted that checked out. And also somewhere along the way, I guess some lines probably in California got cut or something. And so I have some power issues on the dashboard. I have this loud engine squeal and under my hood. And I'm trying, I will determine and make sure that it's not the power steering pump or something like that. And so thank you for everybody that's weighed in on that, including my cousin Mike. And then I also asked for the AC to be checked to see if it needed to be recharged for the summer. It was working. I just needed to know whether I wanted it checked for a recharge. I was willing to pay for the AC check. Anyway, none of that got completed. And so the other thing that didn't get completed, and where my trust started to really break down, was last year. I thought that he had fixed the pinion seal. Because it was an issue last year. Well, it turns out that he told me this year he didn't get to it last year. He ran out of time, but he had topped off the differential fluid. And again, this year he ended up just topping off the differential fluid. He even said he still had the pinion seal and the parts from last year, but he just didn't get around to it. So I think the final straw for me was, so this was Monday and moving forward. And then so Thursday I dropped by again. So she's been there now almost a week, a little longer than a week and a half. And I went in the front office and the girl in the front says, let's go talk to Boss Man. And so we walk. So they've got bays that are like in an L down past the office, and then they go in an L. So we walk out, and he's at the second bay talking to one of his mechanics, and he saw us, and he starts walking off, and she goes, "Hey, Boss Man." And he kept walking, and I called his name, and he kept walking, and she kind of looks at me like, "What do you want to do?" And so we followed him all the way past these bays, all the way turning the corner and going to the other bays. And at the last bay, caught up with him. I mean, we weren't running, but I mean, at the last bay, we met up with him. And I, to try to lighten the mood, I kind of laughed. And I'm like, "Are you always in the habit of walking away when two lovely women are calling after you?" And he just cracked up and smirked it off. He never really even answered. And bottom line, he hadn't fixed my fuel leak still. And when I asked him about it, that's when he said, "I've got other cars I have to work on too." So I went home. That was late Thursday afternoon. So I went home and we left, and I thought about it. And I called early Friday morning, the next morning when they opened up, and I said, "I want you guys to just fix the fuel leak, nothing else, and call me back and let me know when I can expect to come pick her up." Didn't hear anything. And later that day, Friday, Jana drove by there, and Phoenix was on jack stands, and all of her wheels were off. Now, when we left Thursday, she was still in the parking lot, hadn't been touched. Oh, I don't know about touch, but, wheels weren't off of her, and she wasn't on jack stands. And then I called when they opened up Friday morning, and then somewhere in the day, the wheels got taken off. Maybe the front office didn't communicate, or maybe that happened at night, Thursday night, or before they opened Friday morning. I don't know. But it was being done in the parking lot. She still wasn't in a proper bay. I didn't hear anything else from them on Friday after I called them that Friday morning. Monday, I didn't hear from them all day, and I had decided that I would be there Tuesday morning when their doors opened. Well, Monday at 4:30, I get a call. She's ready. Come pick her up. And we live far enough away, I can get there by 5. And I said, well, I can push it and I can be there right at 5, but if I'm a little late, I need you to wait on me. They agreed, and we got there like 5 or 10 minutes after 5. And she was there 2 weeks, and they did a fuel leak repair and an oil and filter change and charged me about $500. And the fuel leak appears to be holding. The fuel leak repair appears to be holding. And the squeal under the hood, he said he heard it, and he tightened the AC belt, and that seems to have fixed it. Well, now I'm going to determine that before I drive her much and make sure that that's okay, but that'll be another video. But the reality is, at that point when I picked her up on 2 weeks to the day, that's all that had gotten done, and now my AC was broken and the other issues were untouched. So I still need to confirm that engine squeal. It could be serious, and I still need everything else fixed on the list. But I've got some options coming up that I'll share with you. But just know that it's getting harder and harder to find mechanics for vintage RV engines. And you know what? It's not just RV engines, because this is a typical G30 Chevrolet van engine and chassis, and it's just harder to find mechanics for vintage engines, and let alone, I guess, good mechanics. And I don't think that I was asking a lot, and I certainly deserve to be treated respectfully. And it's really discouraging, because I now have another lead, and I'll check into that and get back to you guys. But this was my last hope as far as a mechanic, at least in this area for where my home base is. And it left me asking, do I keep going, or is it time to retire Phoenix? And then I'll share with you an option that I came up with that didn't, it's just, I'm very, very limited. And so I thought, well, maybe I'm not going to get to go to my book signing events anymore, or maybe I don't get to go to this summer work camping gig, but I think I'm going to be able to, and I'll share all that with you in another video. Today I wanted to focus on what happened with Phoenix, what all she went through this time, and so undeservedly. Like I said, she's only got 84,000 miles on her. Almost everything has been replaced. She's a good rig, and she's a strong one, obviously, but this shouldn't be happening. Not to her and not to me, honestly. So I don't have all the answers yet, but I'll keep you updated. And I just, sometimes the road tests you. Sometimes life tests us, right? But we keep going anyway. KOKO NMW ODAT. Keep on keeping on, no matter what, one day at a time. Thanks again for being on this journey with me, you guys. Please be sure that you are subscribed to my channel. And if you found anything helpful in this, please share with others. And I'll see you down the road, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.